is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome into this week's edition of Outside the Trenches, presented by our friends at Five Farms Irish Cream Liqueur. I'm Tucker Franklin, joined by Nick Leckey. We're down a man today. No Big B with us, but we will persevere. We will push on. Nick, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Tucker. Just in the middle of my kid's birthday party right now, so if you guys hear the yelling and screaming in the background, it's a bunch of seventh graders doing what they do best, which is a bunch of grab ass.
Yes. I've heard leaks every now and again of running around up there, but listen, the podcast grind doesn't stop for any birthday party. Got to get the podcast in. We appreciate everybody listening to us whenever they're listening to it, because that's the magic of podcast, Nick. But hey, the Chiefs got on the winning side of things. They were able to notch one in the win column after losing two straight. Before we really dive into just what's going on in the NFL, there's a couple of videos I think we should talk about that came out on Wednesday from Gronk talking about Kadarius Toney. Mike McDaniel's speech to his team was incredible. I want to get your thoughts on that. But first, before we dive into all of that and other stuff around the league, thoughts on the Chiefs win over the Patriots?
I think it was good. It looked shaky. It looked super shaky, and It looks like they're still making these same mistakes. And the play is just, it's not inspiring. And there's just no confidence in, I feel like they're just waiting to turn it around. They're like, oh, we're just going to do it, and it's going to click, and we're going to do it. And I'm waiting for that. And it's like, will that never happen? And I think people are waiting on the Chiefs for someone else to make the play. And no one's really stepping up. And you see flashes here and there from Rashee Rice. And it's just one of those things where defense is down some people, and they're still sort of plugging along. They're still being consistent, but at the same time, I don't know what to expect to these Chiefs. Like, it's Mahomes needs to scramble more, like run the ball.
And I understand, like, I know a lot of people want to see him kind of scramble more, make some plays. That's when Mahomes is like the most fun, right? Like, that's when, like, you love to see Patrick Mahomes scramble, but like the wide receivers he has don't necessarily know the scramble drills as much as like his other wide receivers, so that kind of hinders him a little bit in things. And it seems like sometimes he's reverting back to that like 12-yard drop, and you're sometimes seeing Wanya Morris get beat around the edge off from like a speed rush because the dude's a rookie. He's played 2 games in the NFL, and all of a sudden he's getting these guys speed rushing him now. Patrick Mahomes 12 yards backfield. He's going to get beat. Like, that's just what's going to happen if he doesn't see that quick enough to move up in the pocket. But you're right. I mean, they're slogging through this last part of the schedule, kind of limping into the finish line here. But look, Nick, the big thing for me is a win's a win. Is what I kind of took away from it, is because we've gotten so accustomed and maybe spoiled when it comes to the Chiefs and how they take care of games and stuff like that. I remember last year when we were doing this podcast, we were upset that they weren't winning games by as much, right? Like we were like, they should be beating these teams by more. And they eventually went on to win the Super Bowl. It didn't matter how much they beat them by. A win's a win. You appreciate that more coming off of 2 losses. And it seemed like those guys in the locker room also appreciated it.
You do. And you celebrate every win. It's important. And it is bizarre how you could start off to this big lead like Philly did, and then all of a sudden, you lose a couple games, and it's like, whoa, you don't have home field clinched up. And it's like you're fighting for your damn divisional title, even with the Cowboys. So it's the coolest thing about the NFL is that the games all matter. They really truly all matter, even though there's a playoff. Like, they all matter. And I just love how they've sort of created this sort of model where, man, it's important. And guess what? Now they're moving into Christmas Day games, which to me was always NBA season. And NBA is probably like, damn it. They're creeping on our turf.
Yeah. They're going to outperform them too. Like, that's the thing, is that they're going to get more views. And then what's going to make it happen is the NBA's or the NFL's going to think now every Christmas Day, no matter what day of the week it is, we need 3 football games going on from morning until night. I talked about this on the 21 Questions podcast. A little bit of a bummer the Chiefs play on Christmas, right? Kind of got to plan my day around the Chiefs playing a game at noon, nevertheless, in the middle of the day. Still doing a post-game show and everything, so you can stay locked in here on KC Sports Network if you want to step away from the family during Christmas to figure out, to know what we're saying about the Chiefs. You can go check us out on our YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your podcast after the fact. We'll have that post game show. But that's one of the things too, is I think they did play some Christmas Day games on Sunday last year. I want to double check the numbers, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't even close to the NBA when it came to the viewers.
Really, I think that'd be interesting, because I always love the stats of saying like some of the Monday night games or during the season where of a like, let's say Bills and Cincinnati last year or something like that is bigger than like the World Series final or like, NBA playoffs, like when the ratings, and it's like when they released it, like top 100 ratings, and like all of them except for like 10 were NFL games. I was like, wow, that's a domination in the market that counts, and that pays the bills and extra retirees, pensions, and things like that.
So I'm looking at this article here from sportspromedia.com.
Is that a real site?
It's a real site that I'm looking at this. It says the NFL's Christmas Day domestic TV rankings eclipse those of the NBA, which averaged 4.27 million across its 5 games broadcasted on Disney-owned networks on ESPN and ABC. So on Christmas, it looked like, the Packers had a comeback win over the Dolphins last year, 26-20, and it was 25.9 million viewers. So they had 25.9 million viewers on Christmas Day. NBA 4.2. Like, it's not close. It's the NFL is content king, obviously.
Yeah,
and they're gonna do. I think the NFL is gonna do whatever they can to keep games on holidays. Nick, I'm curious how it feels to you. I was actually talking to John McGraw about this, a former defensive back for the Kansas City Chiefs, about like playing on holidays. He said you just get used to it. I mean, it's just like any other day. It's like any other work day, and then you get used to celebrating like Christmas and the end of January when the season's done. Like, you just get used to celebrating these at different times.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday, it's a Monday. When you get into the season, your dates, you don't really care.
Yeah,
it's like today's a Monday, today's a Wednesday, today's a Friday, and you can tell the days when you wake up and it's Christmas morning or it's Thanksgiving, and you're driving into work in the morning and there's nobody on the road, and it's just you on the road, and it's kind of nice because it's kind of peaceful. Like, I remember in Arizona, it's Christmas morning, and you're driving into work, and it's like no one's on the road at all, and it's like, okay, cool, we're gonna get into work, do our thing, and be out. And you're right, it just I think with football, everything just comes first. Absolutely everything just comes first, and that's just the way it is.
Speaking of that, everything coming first, we did have a couple of videos I mentioned at the top of the show that I wanted to talk about. One is a clip coming from Rob Gronkowski, who makes his weekly appearance on the Up and Adams show, friend of the program, Kay Adams, and Matt Hamilton there. He had a little things to say about Kadarius Toney. I got the quote here. I'll read it. He said, "Kadarius is an athletic freak. He can run routes like no other. He can return punts. But when you're making costly mistakes like that in and out, I mean, from the beginning of the season to the middle of the season, throughout your whole career, it's kind of like you don't love the game of football." Nick, I want to get your thoughts on this. As a former player, to have another former player come out and say, like, a guy actively playing in the NFL doesn't love the game of football was a little jarring to me.
It does feel like there's a violation of the Brotherhood Code of Omerta, where you might say some things privately, but you don't put people's business on air like that, maybe. But I think that Gronk's got an opinion. I think networks want Gronk because he's got this sort of party atmosphere, fun guy thing, and so they're still trying to figure out where he goes into media, how he transitioned to that career. And for him to say he doesn't have a love for the game, like, I don't know, has he spoken to him? Some people don't have a love for the game like me. I don't think I ever loved the game. I love playing. I love pass blocking. I love run blocking. I thought that was a fun aspect. But like, love of the game, I don't think I had a love of the game. Like, honestly, I think to me it was a way to make money, and just a way to be like, okay, cool, it's a progression. I'm good at it. But I guess I never had that love. Like maybe if Gronk, maybe Gronk has a love for the game. I'm not sure. But a lot of O-linemen I would talk to, also O-linemen and D-linemen, did have a love for the game, because it's a violent sport. It's an absolutely violent sport, and you're not getting that glory right? You're kind of stuck in the mud, and it's fun, but it's stressful. So you got to weigh this constant balance of fun and stressful, and like, okay, why am I doing this? Because you make good money, and that's why. If they didn't have the money out there, I'd be curious who would still be playing.
That's a good point.
I really do. Like, I wonder, like, who I wouldn't play. Like, if it was like, you know, 30,000 to go play or go get a job, I'd go get a job. So it's like, it's just, you know, so a lot of guys are dragged into that. And you don't have to love the game. I didn't love the game, but I'm a professional, and, you know, I knew how to, you know, apply the rules and to figure out how to make it work. And that's what you did. So sometimes and I played for my friends. You know, I played for my friends who couldn't make it. I played for my friends who would love to be there and do all that stuff. And that's what motivated me. And I think you have to find that motivation within you. Even week to week, your motivation sometimes would lag. Like, just because you're in it, like, I mean, it's like, oh, I'm, you know, it's not feeling it this week, or, you know, I'm motivated this week. I'm playing against a Pro Bowl or an All Pro guy. Yeah, there's lots of things, but I don't know. To question the love for Gronk, I don't know if you can say that unless you know something, you know, but I don't know if you could say that. Like, I mean, what do you think about that, honestly, Tucker?
A lot. So Kadarius Toney coming out of Florida a couple of years ago in the draft, one of the things about him was his dedication to the game. That was one of the notes on his file, right? Because he liked to also make rap music. Like, that's basically what it was. Like, he also had an interest in other things besides football, and we usually see owners and scouts and whoever it is of talent evaluators put that on the file of not fully dedicated to football if they have a hobby. So like, I always find that really interesting to that whole side of things. So this is a stigma that he's had to kind of try to break or kind of try to shake from him for a while. This isn't like the first time anyone's questioned his desire and want to play the sport of football. I think it's weird coming from Gronk, coming from an ex-player. And you're right. Like, it would make sense if he would have talked to him, but I don't know how frequent Rob Gronkowski and Kadarius Toney, how frequent their circles overlap in terms of who they're hanging out with. Doesn't really seem like they'd be the same in the same crowd, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. It's this part right here, Nick, on the second part of his quote where he said, "You're just out there because you're just so athletic that you're born with that type of athleticism, but you're not out there to be the best teammate you can be or the best football player that you can be, because those mistakes that he's making should have been corrected after the first time. If you love the game of football, you go back to the locker room, you take accountability of it all, you go hit the practice field, and you make sure you look that ball in, catch it, and tuck it, and secure that ball well. That's what you do if you love football, and you don't make that mistake again. But when you keep making mistakes like that, you must not be that much into the game, and you must not love the game." It's a swiping with a broad generalization like that I'm not a huge fan of really in anything. But just like in this particular, just using this broad generalization of, oh, he keeps making the same mistakes, so he must not care. I'm not a huge fan of in that regard.
And I agree. And I don't think you can make it in the NFL being a pure freak. You could maybe get away with that in college.
Yeah.
But I think with NFL, everyone's got the freaky athleticism. Like, you're not really freaky athletic. Even look at Tyreek Hill. Is he super athletic? Yeah. But does he have one of the highest I want to win rates of anybody in the history of time? Like he's a dirty, not dirty, but he's a gritty ass player. Yeah. Like, I love watching Tyreek because he'll jump for balls, like, and he'll go up against like safeties who are, 6'2", and he'll sky it because he wants the ball, he wants to play. And for Gronk, like, and here's my complaint about Gronk. Good dude, fantastic personality, but I'd be curious how much film he's watching. Honestly, like, I've heard Julian Edelman say he's got a high football IQ, but when I hear his analysis, it's too broad stroke, which to me means how much research is he doing? How much film is he watching? Because Gronk's game was like, find the soft spots in the coverage. And as a tight end, right? You're a big body, you go straight up, or you go out, right? It's like simple. So it's like, I mean, for him to say that, it's like, I never really heard of Gronk. I heard he's a football mind, but how much film did he watch? How much study did he do? So, like I said, when you paint in broad strokes, I don't feel like you know the subject matter that well.
for sure. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I haven't been really impressed by Gronk in his early broadcasting career, his early analyst career. It hasn't been my cup of tea. Some people like him, and that's okay. Like you can have your opinion. It's just not for me. And look, I'm sure I like somebody that you don't like either. So I think that's just how it goes. But
that's cool.
Let's go ahead, Nick, and take a break. I want to get to Mike McDaniel and what he said to his team, the Hard Knocks video that was leaked. But we're going to take a break first, and then we'll talk after this.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Welcome back into Outside the Churches here on KC Sports Network, presented by our friends at Five Farms Irish Cream Liqueur. Love the folks up there at Holiday Distillery. If you're able to get up to Weston, Missouri this time of year, especially, there's been legit Hallmark movies filmed up in Weston, Missouri. The downtown Weston is immaculate, especially with the Christmas time vibes. Nick, I don't know about you, but I really do enjoy watching just a really super cheesy, super predictable Christmas movie. And just something about it just gets me in the Christmas spirit.
Hell yes. Absolutely. Hallmark movies kick ass. Like I'll be the first to I'll sit there old school with my like, if you flip to the channels and you see the Hallmark, and I'll have my finger on the change channel button the whole time, but I'll be sucked in because it's this perfect, cozy little, snow globe. It's, what's going to happen. You could see who's going to get together, and it's just a matter of, the ending, but you're going to watch this because there's always something cheesy. There's always something feel good. And it's designed to make you feel good. And I can appreciate that with everything in the world, everyone trying to be toxic or negative and trying to be edgy. No, man, they accept who they are and they know what they're producing to. I've told my wife, I'm like, listen, I don't want to be a major movie star. I want to get in the Hallmark circuit.
Yes.
That's what I want to do. Whatever it takes. I want to be in the Hallmark circuit. I don't know that guy, but I've seen him in like a shitload of Hallmark movies. That's what I want to be. I want to be that guy.
And once you're in that circuit, you're in. Like you're in every Hallmark. Like you're not going anywhere. That girl from Mean Girls, I can't remember her name off the top of the head. She is in like a lot of Hallmark movies now. And like you just see a bunch of actors like, oh yeah, is that one girl from like One Tree Hill? And you're like, oh yeah, that is who that is. And then yeah, it is much. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
It's like I want to be like a coach in the NFL for a year or two, and then go coach in the CFL forever, right? Type thing. Like that's the concept, right? You go in Hollywood for a couple of a TV show, and it doesn't make it, and then you just go live in Hallmark world. I love it. Just bat singles all day, man. Just easy peasy. Easy peasy, man. Forever.
And look, Weston, Missouri, that's where you got to go. That's where we got out on that track. That's where Holiday Distillery is. Go check them out. They've got some great stuff. And we love working with them. We love doing a bunch of stuff with them at Holiday Distillery. But Nick, before we took a break, I teased the Mike McDaniel video, which I think surprised a lot of people. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Hard Knocks, they're in the in-season Hard Knocks, the Miami Dolphins are. They've had some really good stuff for that Hard Knocks come out. Just a team that's actually competitive, too, on a Hard Knocks has been something that's been wildly refreshing from that program because you usually see teams that stink. But to see a team that is competitive and see their process about going about things has been something that's been really refreshing. And I think what was also refreshing is Mike McDaniel is one of the new age coaches, right, in the NFL, one of the youngest coaches. And the way he took accountability and the way he was able to just level with his players, talk to a man-to-man, not take a high horse of like, look, I'm the head coach, you got to listen to me. He was very much straightforward, honest with his guys. A lot of expletives in there, so if you want to go check it out, go to my Twitter at Tucker D. Franklin. I retweeted it. You can watch that video. It's about a minute and a half long of Mike McDaniel just basically taking responsibility for bad play calling in some situations. And Nick, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because you've been in a locker room like that. You've been in those film rooms like that. I just want to know, how rare is that? Because that feels like to me as an outsider that doesn't happen all that much.
No, it doesn't. I think to me where the thing that gets me about the NFL is that you have all these players who have, worked their ass off to get there. And then you have maybe a position coach or something like that who is just best friends with the coach. So that's why they get brought on. And it's just like, like, how are we doing this? Like, why are you my coach? Like, I don't trust you. And so I love the McDaniels hire, for one, because this whole musical chairs of, okay, this coach sucks here, but guess what? He's going to be our new coach here, and maybe he'll get it done. And guess what? He doesn't get it done. Spoiler alert, right? Not going to happen. So Mike McDaniels is fresh. And the thing I loved about NFL versus college, especially I was Bill Snyder college, so that's different college, is that, you're treated like a student, like a teenager, like, hey, you're controlled, right? And you have to, right? We're 18, 22, so you can't. But the cool thing to me about the NFL is I am now an adult. I am now, making good money, and I am dedicated to this craft. Like, I'm dedicated to what I'm doing. So treat me like a man. Don't ever put kid gloves on me. Don't ever, think that you're my dad or you're my guardian or you're my protector. No, like, just level with me. And that, to me, the coolest thing about Denny Green or Sean Payton is that they treated you like a man. And it's like, hey, look, we got to get this shit straight. And it wasn't like, you better get it right, standing over you, tisk type stuff. It's like, hey, here, let's get this shit straight. And for Mike McDaniel to come out with that realness and to take ownership, that's cool. Because players are going to talk. Players are going to be like if Mike would have said that, then they just say, hey, Tua, that shit on you, man. That's a shit call. Like, he shouldn't be saying things like that. He should put you in that position. And for him to take ownership, that gives the rest of the locker room buy-in to the team. They go, oh, okay, cool. So it's okay. You have to make this environment where it's okay to mess up. Because it's going to happen, right? Where if you make your team where if you mess up and you get pulled, then you're constantly worried about not messing up instead of not winning. And for Mike McDaniels to do that, it's awesome. And it's a breath of fresh air to be like, okay, cool. Like, I love that. I absolutely love that. And then you play freer, right? You play freer. And that's what you want. That's the goal.
What I found like most refreshing of it is you don't hear coaches, and he said it very graphically, right? Sometimes, that's just sometimes just how that people talk in the locker room. Like, they say a lot of F-bombs, S-bombs, whatever. But he's saying, like, this is a bad call. On the goal line, he said, this is a bad call against cover zero. He said, I shouldn't have called this a jump ball, a fadeaway jumper right here. Shouldn't have called that. Like, that's on me. That wasn't me. And I don't know if you ever really hear a coach say that. And he's talking about, too, when Tua misses a throw. And he said he's trying to overcompensate for a bad call that I made. And that's what happens when you're trying to overcompensate for your teammates. And listen, he doesn't, take every bit of the blame. So it's not like he's just, trying to deflect all the things from his players. He gets on, I think it was Xavier Howard that he got on for flipping his hips too early, trying to go for a pick when it ended up in a big play for the Titans. So he got onto some players there. But if you're able to take accountability and for your own actions in a game, not to think that you're holier than thou in the whole grand scheme of things, I think the players are more likely to be like, okay, he can admit his faults. So if he's pointing something out for me, I'm more likely to be like, okay, I'll take that and we can move on. But a point that you made, Nick, that I thought was really good. He said, we're going to look this in the face. Like, we're going to look it in the face. We're going to tell it how it is. We're going to move on from it, but we're not going to sugarcoat anything. We're just getting right into it. We're diving right in. And that is something that the outward facing Mike McDaniel is very fun, right? Like, he's a very funny guy. His a persona is a very, fun's the right word. I think he seems like a very much of a player's coach on the outside of things. But to see him level with his guys like that, I think just adds a whole nother layer to this, to his hire. And I know he's a family coach, right? Like, the McDaniels are a family when it comes to coaching in the NFL. And he was with that Washington staff that was absolutely loaded with like Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay was on that staff, Mike McDaniel again, Shanahan was on there. So it's like they had so many different like coaches now in there too. So it was really refreshing. I thought it was good to see coach take accountability. 40 years old. He's one of the younger ones in the National Football League when it comes to that. So age difference isn't too big when it comes to those guys that he's talking to. That might be where that comes from.
It is. No, and that's what I'm saying. You get new blood in there. You get new blood in the system And you got a different way of doing things, because there are some coaches back in the day that couldn't coach in this modern day. And players are a little bit different with regards to, they know more about nutrition.
Yeah.
You know, they know more about the weight room is different. You know, the emphasis on recovery is so much greater now. And so with that being said too, man, when you got someone too who's coming in and saying, hey, look, this is what it is, God, it's great. And for him to correct that corner in a great way, because he takes ownership of his faults. And then he also corrects in a way that's not negative. Like, oh, look at this dipshit. You know, he tries to go for the glory pick. No, he phrases it like, okay, hey, look, you know, I respect his playmaker. He circles the corner. And it's look, he's following his route. And he's like, and it is a great lesson, because it's like, don't try to make the play, you know, let your teammate, and like he paints you the broader picture instead of just saying, what do you do in your little siloed role? Like, no, here's the broader picture. You know, I respect you going for this play, but trust your teammates, trust this. And it's like, that resonates. And that's what I try to do when I coach, is say, look, we're going to run this play, or we need you to do this, and here's why.
Yeah. And
if you explain it, it gives it a deeper level. And then that way it's gonna get seared onto your heart a lot better. And you're gonna remember that, you know, when it happens in a game.
I really liked it. I know a lot of people, when it came out, were very, very positive reception. I don't think I've seen a negative reception about it anyway, basically saying, I think the context that I saw it was tweeted out with like, the Bears need this or something like that. The Bears need accountability. Like basically other teams saying like, yeah, we could really use this accountability in our team. And yeah, it's something that I respect. I think Mike McDaniel is a great coach and schemes up a great offense. He's able to get these guys open. I think he is a really good play caller, as much as crap as he gave himself in that clip. I do think he's a good play caller for the most part. Everybody has bad play calls, right? But he's one of the best ones out there right now, and he's one of the best coaches cooking. With him and the Shanahans, he comes from that Shanahan tree. So, I mean, makes sense why they're all cooking. But yeah, the Dolphins look good. They got a big game against the Cowboys coming up. So we'll see how that one shakes out, because, ooh, buddy, the Cowboys did not look good against the Buffalo Bills.
They did not. That was not a good look for them. It was just a total, just absolutely ownership. And I think like we talked about, Rob, what was the final of that one?
Oh, let me see. I think it was like 30-10 or something like that. It was 31-10. Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, it just like we talked about, right? Like don't take that Cowboys over Philly win at home to whatever, right? It's like I said, you got to look at the broader picture too. Philly coming off one of the toughest 5-game schedules on the road, divisional opponent, and the Cowboys are feeling themselves. They've been playing some soft cupcake teams and winning them like they should, doing their thing.
Yep.
And yeah, and then it's like we'll see once they play a real team, and look what happens, right? That's Dallas, man. If you let them sniff their own, farts, as they say, then they'll think they're roses.
You know, the Bills quietly having a pretty good run here.
Yeah.
They play the Chargers this week in LA, which should be a win. The Chargers are the Chargers that they were when they started the season. Then they have the Patriots and end with the Dolphins. So, look, they've got a pretty solid slate to try to sneak in and maybe make some noise against the Dolphins for that number, or for the first place spot in the AFC West or AFC East. When we all counted them out in November, we wrote them off. But as Geno Smith would say, they didn't write back.
That's so true. So are you talking about, who are you talking about? The Seahawks? What are you talking about?
Well, I was talking about the Bills. The Bills.
Josh Allen is playing great.
Yeah.
You know, I think Josh Allen looks hungry. You know, he looks when he runs the ball, he's looking hungry. Like he really is good. And I think that they've discovered what they have where, if Diggs isn't there, you know, that's a problem. But Diggs came up with a catch when it needed to, third and long, and he came up with a good catch. And they've had the defensive squad, you know, and I think them beating the Chiefs really gave them confidence.
Yeah,
it really does. And they're the most dangerous. Were they like 6-6 team?
8-6 now.
8-6 now. So they're like, yeah, see, remember at 6-6 thing. I mean, these guys are looking good, looking really good, and they're peaking at the right time, late December.
They're 8-6 right now. 3, as I mentioned, easily winnable games for the Bills. The Dolphins, if you look at their schedule, they've got 10 wins right now. They've got the Cowboys, then the Ravens, then the Bills. So
the toughest.
Scary hours for folks in Miami. 10-4, the Dolphins are. 8-6 for the Buffalo Bills. Look, that's a couple game swing right there that Buffalo can easily win out. The Dolphins could easily lose out too.
It really could too. No, it really could. Like we've talked about, Miami and the Ravens have the most difficult schedules for sure. They really do, and it's just we're going to see it. We're going to see it.
Yeah, looking around, the Ravens have already clinched in the AFC, but they've got a tough schedule. They've got probably the best game that we're going to see this week with the 49ers on Monday night. That's Christmas night. That game's going to be a great little nightcap. If you could sit down and watch that one.
I'm going to watch that one. To me, honestly, like if we were to do our usual, how are we going to screw Florida State out of the whatever? To me, and I've kind of seen glimpses and they're starting getting together, is Baltimore looks like the power index team. Just because, they don't have Mark Andrews, so they had to scramble. And Odell.
Yeah.
Odell, Mr. Consistent, getting open, catching everything. Oh, I just love it. Like, I really do love it. I love how Baltimore's playing right now. Like I said, this is, when teams separate, and I'm like, damn, Baltimore is like the number one, clear cut to me.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed that the Chiefs, if they want the number one seed, are going to need some help from Baltimore. Like, Baltimore's going to have to lose, and they've got a couple hard games. Obviously, they got San Francisco. They're going to have the Dolphins. Their last game, I just had it pulled up that I don't remember off the top of my head, is the Steelers. So,
yep, at home, they get 2 home games to finish out in Baltimore. So that would be cool. That's like motivation. Hey, here's how we're playing at home, which we could clinch home field, AFC, and this could be it. So yeah, it's like I said, their schedule's tough, but then we'll also see these next few games if Baltimore's legit or not, especially with that if you face that 49ers defense, that Miami defense. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what you're made of.
NFL has 2 games on Saturday this week. Bengals Steelers on Saturday would be an interesting one. Too bad Big B's not here to talk about that one. And Bills Chargers on Saturday as well. Looking at some of the big ones, we always talk about Cowboys and Dolphins. Raiders play the Chiefs on Monday. They did not flex out Patriots and Broncos, Nick. It's still there.
That's yeah. I thought for sure that was off. That was gonna get
It's a real shame that we have to suffer through that one and watch that one. But if you are going to be watching it, because we probably all are, because we're all football sickos, they have us. The NFL has us. They have us in the palm of their hand. And NFL fans, it's time to unwrap nonstop football action this holiday season. You can throw down on big matchups with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on the NFL and score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Looking at the Chiefs versus Raiders game. When I looked at this earlier today, the Chiefs were 10-point favorites, and looks like they still are 10-point favorites over the underdog Las Vegas Raiders at home on Christmas Day. And you can get in on the action by downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with code KCSN. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code KCSN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources, Nick. All right.
Good job, Tucker.
Thank you. I need to catch my breath after that one. Let's get into Blind Nil. What have you brought for us here for Blind Nil?
So I've become dad. I've become like dad for sure. I got a coffee the other day, and someone was talking about barefoot, and they're hurting, and I was like, did you know that Mbebe Bikele was the running the 1960 Rome Marathon Olympics?
Okay.
And he did not like his shoes, right? So he decided to run the Rome 1960 Olympic Marathon barefoot and won gold barefoot. Like, I can't even walk, whatever. So that being said, fun fact, what to you is something that you've learned, sports wise or something, or just any sort of fun fact that you are like, that's like kind of like is your B-side when you tell people like that? Like, what's your dad moment of, hey, did you know? And then, like I said, this guy won the Olympics barefoot, like just decided to be like, okay, like I don't like these shoes, they're hurting my feet. Just gonna run it barefoot. Just
it's like a fun fact that I can pull out.
Yeah. Like, do you have like a go-to, like a reference, like when you see something?
Yeah.
Like, or
whenever you're like, my buddies are like, let's just talk about like crazy, you know how guys are. They just talk about crazy stats every now and then.
Of course.
One of my favorite things to pull out is Wayne Gretzky would have the points record in hockey if he didn't score any goals.
That's crazy. And explain that to our viewers.
Yeah, so so you obviously have goals, right? Those are pretty self-explanatory. You score a goal with the puck. An assist, the hockey assists are you can pass to a pass and you still get the assist. You basically add points or add goals and assists together to get points. So the context of that is if Wayne Gretzky did not score a single goal in his career and just had his assist, he would have the points record. So meaning all of his assists are more than any other hockey player has had as assists and goals put together. Like, that's an insane stat.
That's insane. That talks about his longevity. I mean, because he was a rookie in like 82 and he played in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember like him playing for the Oilers and then playing for the Kings and then I think maybe the Rangers with Messier. I'm not even sure, but yeah, that's an amazing stat. The great one.
No,
it's a skinny kid from Canada.
There are a lot of wild hockey stats, actually.
Yeah, I remember growing up, my dad was a big Gordie Howe fan because he was from Saskatchewan, and Gordie Howe played for like 40 years. Like, he played like in the 60s and then played in like the 80s in like Houston Aeros or something like that with his son. It was cool. That's really cool.
That's like the first stat I can think of. Like, if you're like, name a crazy stat, but I've got more up there. It's just kind of all jumbled around. It's not like a filing cabinet. It's just like a messy desk with a bunch of files placed on top of it. And I'm just like, I gotta find. It's here. Right. So like, I know it's here, but I just gotta find what pile I put it in. That's my brain. My brain is just like a messy desk. But you're like doing a lot of work if you have a messy desk, right? Like, you're getting a lot of work done in a messy desk. That's how I constantly operate, is with a messy desk when it comes down to it. But that's my brain, and it just manifests itself in real life. It happens. Just the messy desk mode.
It's ready. Someone's got to like get close to that fact stuff, and then you pull it out like we just did tonight. Like, you pull it out tonight.
It's true. I did pull that out pretty good, though. Truth.
It was really good. That was really good. I even bought you some extra time, and you added. It was like, yeah. It was like, okay, you could do this. I like that one. So if Wayne Gretzky did not score a Super Bowl, he would still lead the NFL in the history with just his assist.
Just his assist, he would lead in 1 points. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's wild.
I don't know.
Do you want to read Nick Springer's on this private chat? Our producer.
I don't know, Nick. Do you want me to dox you? I don't know if you want me to dox you. Like, just drop it in the chat if you want me to dox you or not. I will gladly dox you if you want me to. I'll give your whole
solid doxing. I'll SWAT you too, right? Yeah, he was capping.
He was
capping.
He's full of cap. Man, I feel like I have another stat, but it'll come to me when we do in the middle of my blind nil. I'm sure.
There you go. Right, exactly right.
That's what'll happen. Because listen, I already said what we're gonna do is we're gonna rank our teams, right, 1 to 4 in the NFL.
Oh,
so let's get back to the committee. Committee is in session. Meeting in session.
Grapevine at the Gaylord and Grapevine.
Right at the Gaylord
in the hometown.
Yes, in the hometown. It's a home game for you, Nick.
I'm sitting next to Condoleezza Rice,
Yep.
So figuring out who's in, who's out.
Gene Taylor also in the room. He was on the committee this last year.
That's right. My boy Gene. I love Gene, by the way, man. He's absolutely a beautiful human being, and he's a football guy. He doesn't want to be up in the box watching the game. He's on the field, and they're like, everyone's like, we got to get Gene up here to talk to the people up here in his suite. And Gene's rather be on the boots on the ground, right? Watching the team, watching the Cats play. So,
yeah. No, in the few interactions I've had a couple interactions, and he's been a great guy. Enjoyed it. Gary Pinkel actually coming into the new selection committee for the College Football Playoff Committee. So very interesting. Yeah. A lot of local ties when it comes to the local teams into the College Football Playoff Committee. Okay. I was flipping through my notes to see what we had last week. Last week rankings, we had 49ers at 1, Cowboys at 2, Ravens at 3. Oh, wait, hang on. This was the old list. Sorry. Niners, Cowboys, Eagles, Ravens was our top 4.
Niners, Cowboys, Eagles, Ravens.
And then we had Lions and Chiefs as 2 odd men out.
Yeah. Okay. So, and this section is entitled, Who's going to get Florida State? Who's our fourth one has to be a maybe, right?
Yeah. We're putting ourselves in the shoes of the committee, right? Remember, we put the Cowboys at 2 because we said, hey, if they beat the Bills, good, they deserve to be 2, but they didn't beat the Bills. And Nick, I think both of you and I agree that the Niners are still probably number 1.
You know what? No. I don't think so. I think that the Ravens, and like the Cowboys, so the Ravens and the Niners have the same records. Yeah. And right now, who would you not rather play?
Probably the Niners, truthfully.
I feel you. Yeah. We can still thank Washington for trading them Chase Young, giving a middle finger to both Philly and Dallas, and say, hey, we're going to send this all-pro DN to the other team in the NFC West. So that's me being petty Dan Snyder, like type move, old school shout out, ex-owner, for sure. So I would say Baltimore only because I like the way Lamb's playing. I think they've recovered, or, Mark Andrews is still out, right?
Yep.
He's out. He's done. And yeah, so I thought they would sink without him, honestly. And they figured out different ways to go about it. And like I said, Odell Beckham was the NFL Super Bowl MVP if he didn't get hurt, with the Rams. And so Odell's playing just consistent, and he's playing young Odell, and it's amazing. I mean, you put it up to anywhere near him, he's getting open and he's going to get it.
So here's what we can do, Nick. As a savvy committee.
Yeah.
The Ravens and the Niners play each other this week. So what we do is we put, in some order, Niners, Ravens at 1 and 2. And then the winner just goes up to number 1.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. So
here's what I'll do, because Niners are already number 1. They won last week. Keep them at number 1. Fine. We'll keep them at number 1. Keep those guys happy. And then we'll put the Ravens coming up from number 4 up 3 spots to number 2. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I do. And really that's a winner for the 1 in our book right there. The winner will get the 1 next week, more than likely. Looking at the 3 and 4, I mean, do the Cowboys fall out of your top 4, Nick?
Easily. I was hoping they would. Like I said, I feel they're, I love, my term is they're an ace, right? But in blackjack, that can mean you're a 1 or an 11. and I think they're a 1, right? It's like their ego was so big because they're smashing these not so great teams that are deflated, and then like I said, you think you beat the Eagles on they're coming off a 5-game stretch and they're so it was a hollow victory of your divisional and a divisional game too. So who knows? And they've had the domination in Dallas or Arlington forever. Hey. And so as they say, bye-bye, you out.
I'm looking at the other teams that have a 10-4 record. I'm jotting them down here real quick. Cowboys obviously 10-4. Dolphins are 10-4 on the AFC side. They're the only other 10-4 team in the AFC. But then you have the Cowboys, Eagles, Lions. So we're dropping the Cowboys out. So you're looking at Dolphins, Eagles, Lions in terms of your other 3. So like your 3, 4, 5. Dolphins, Eagles, Lions. How do you put those in order?
Dolphins, Eagles, Lions. So Dolphins, Eagles, Lions. I think Philly. I think Philly gets in there for surviving that 5-game stretch.
Yeah.
In the middle of that, they beat the Chiefs. Was that in Arrowhead? Or was that in?
That was at Arrowhead, yeah.
So they went on the road and beat the Chiefs, which is looking more and more like a victory. Like I don't know what the Chiefs are right now.
Right.
Like, cause I don't. So I would say Philly. I would say, and it's just like, I'm like, oh, I don't, and I think they got a good, I think if I look, their schedule is trash coming up. They're going at home versus Giants, at home versus Arizona, and then they go at the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, if that ain't we try to screw you over. Because the Seahawks had to play the game of their lives to beat Philly. And Seattle's a tough place to play, especially at night. Mm-hmm. It was raining a little bit. I mean, that's advantage Seattle. And Drew Lock had the most amazing game. A couple clutch throws and defense clutched up. Seattle looked legit. Like, I'm almost ready to Florida State someone for Seattle and Drew Lock. Kidding. We can't go that far yet. Maybe next. Yeah, unless
Drew Lock does it again.
Because I think based off the who we're going to Florida State, that looking ahead, they should win these next 2 games easily, and then everything else will sort itself out. Baltimore, Miami, going to sort it out.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to put the Cowboys at number 6, or do you want the Chiefs at number 6? Chiefs have a 9-6 record, 9-5 record. Sorry.
You know what? Listen, we have to find a way to Florida State the Chiefs in there. We have to capitalize on what's her face? Annie Agar. What's her?
Annie Agar, I think.
Annie Agar with her.
That's how I've always seen it.
Yeah. We have to do we have to get them up. We go, hey, Swifties, Kansas Cityans, we got to bring you into the mix. We need ratings to be through the roof.
Yep.
So we can sell them better. So yeah, we got to put Kansas City at the 6, so we can work backwards.
We can go Chiefs there. Yeah. And then looking at it now, Cowboys are going to be eliminated from it. So I guess it's between the Dolphins and the Lions at the 4 spot. Or we put the Dolphins at the 3. The Dolphins won't play the Eagles. They won't play the Lions either. None of these teams will play each other.
Yeah.
So you could go Dolphins at 3, Eagles at 4, Lions. So do you think Lions is at 5 is the best one here?
Yeah, it is. They're on the outside looking in. The number 4 is for allowing the access.
Yeah.
To the Dolphins. And I like McDaniels as a coach. I mean, I like Dan as a coach. So I play with Dan in Detroit. So I like Dan truly too. He's awesome. But I think McDaniels has Cheetah. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's if he's healthy or not, like this team is different with and without Cheetah. Yeah. So we're gonna, and is he out? Is he playing?
Let me look that up real quick. I'm not sure. It's kind of
that could sort itself out very easily too. And plus they play the Ravens also.
They do play the Ravens later out in the year. So maybe you put them at 4. and then let the chips fall.
Yeah, exactly. And then it gives the boost to that TV ratings more. Because now you have the 4 and the 1 playing each other in the regular season, and then it makes our job easier too.
I like that. All right, here it is. We got it. Let me go double check the movement on here. Cowboys drop all the way out.
Hold on. What do we call that? What happened to the Cowboys? They got
Florida State. There we go. Florida State. Cowboys got Florida State. And Florida State also got Florida State. Dolphins up from not ranked previous week ago. So Niners number 1, they stay the same. Number 2 are the Ravens. They move up 3 spots from number 4. Number 3 are the Eagles. They stay the same, even after a loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Number 4, Dolphins pop into the rankings after not being ranked last week, according to my calculations. At number 5, our 5 and 6 teams are the same, Nick.
Oh, wow.
6 teams are Lions and Chiefs. That's how we did it last week. They're still 5 and 6.
Nice. And then the Cowboys are... And then why be Florida State? The Cowboys. Because we just don't think they're that good. And then they can prove it. Dallas can prove it based off their remaining schedule. They have Cowboys last 5. So full team schedule for the Cowboys. All right, Cowboys. What am I looking at here? What the hell? Okay, right here. Oh boy. They could prove themselves at Miami.
Yep.
First Detroit, at Washington. We're putting a chip on a Cowboys shoulder. We're putting a chip on because we want the Cowboys to play their best.
Right. Just a little bit of extra motivation for the boys.
Exactly. You can't put them in there because then they'll get complacent and then they'll just lose everything. Right? We need them hungry. We need a hungry Cowboys team.
There it is. There's our rankings. Go over it again. 1 Niners, 2 Ravens, 3 Eagles, 4 Dolphins, 5 Lions, 6 Chiefs. I like that. I like that ranking.
I feel so good about this too. And when we're going to have Baltimore and Miami sort each other out.
Yep.
Detroit and Dallas sort each other out. Chiefs just don't blow.
They're in the Alabama situation, right? Like they're in the Alabama situation. They get pretty easy into the schedule. They just have to kind of not mess up. They don't have to. Yeah. They just need to not get in a 4th and 31 against Auburn. Right, but then if they do,
you can't get out of that. You can't get out of that. That's game over, right?
But then if they do,
you'll never. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, we couldn't. Yeah, that's play. I just can't even fathom that play. What are you doing?
I don't know how you feel if you're the defensive player on the other side of the field, covering somebody, and you're just what is going on over there? What?
Yeah, we have it locked up. How does that get over your head? How do you let someone catch a corner in the back of the end zone? What are you looking at? Honestly.
Insane. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Outside the Trenches, put by our friends at 5 Farms Irish Cream Liqueur. I'm Tucker Franklin. That's Nick Leckey. We'll talk to you guys next week with more 5 things. Hey, might have a special guest as well. Maybe an OG of the Outside the Trenches podcast. I don't know. You'll have to check it out. Catch it.